So it's like you got to perfect your trade. You got to $10 million or 100 or $50,000 a year. Got to perfect it.
Welcome back to the podcast with no name. Donovan Johnson and my co-host
Scott Warner.
So Scott took more of the lead the first episode, and now you get to experience the darker side of the relationship. Let's just cut that. That was awful.
No,
I'm sorry.
That's the stuff that would
WWTD. What would Todd do?
What would Stop. All right.
Camera guy's like, all right, we're really cutting this. And
no, so anyway, go ahead.
So I just kind of wanted to, it's kind of a broad question, but I guess the point of this is trying to see kind of where your mind and more importantly, where your heart is on the issue.
Okay.
And it's just dealing with the economy today. I know old Trumpert got elected and everybody's blowing their band horn right now, especially in Southwest Louisiana, at least. But how do you deal with a quote unquote slower market? I mean, there's so much negativity, I feel like, in regards to the economy that it's hard to keep it out.
Yeah.
But how does Scott Warner, kids and all, wife, still show up every day ready to ball?
You have to adjust. Yeah, you have to adjust. I mean, a bad market's going to be a bad market no matter. I mean, if it's the best time or if it's the worst time. When is a good time to have a bad market? I don't think it really ever is. But you got to adjust. If you don't adjust, then just like God says, if you don't adjust, you're going to wither and die. You don't want to wither and die. I don't want to wither and die, in real life, and I don't want my work to wither and die. So it's just keep plugging yourself, keep making those friends, keep making those relationships, because one day that relationship, that seed is going to turn into a flower if you just keep watering it. Don't overwater it, but just keep watering it. Speaking about water, my co-host is looking for some. But the thing is, if you just sit there and say, everything's going to come to me, I don't think that's the right perspective. I mean, that's like saying, for you, all right, I'm going to put it in football terms. Hey, I'm not going to practice at all, but I'm going to be the best cornerback in the league. I don't need to do a dang thing, but I'm going to be the best. Does that work? I mean, for your football background, because weren't you cornerback?
Safety, but same difference. You're going to get cooked with that mindset.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's our passion. It's our trade. These people that are making, whether it's a realtor making, $10 million a year and have, different networks and selling New York. And I mean, I'm thinking of the guy with gray hair, Ryan, I think his name is.
Sure. Last name starts with an S. I read his book.
Yeah. So anyway,
Big Money Energy.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Even and I don't crack books, but even just reading up on things, you have to progress. You can't stay where you are and say, "Oh, well, this market's going to get better." It might not get better, and I mean, segue that to, I'm sure one of your next questions is Southwest Louisiana. When is that? But we'll wait. We'll table that for when you ask that, because I like where we're at. The thing is, guess what? If you don't perfect yourself, then you're not going to get it. If safeties in the NFL and safeties in college and safeties all the way into high school, when you're learning it, if you don't practice, it's like football terminology. If you see a safety coming down that has his head down and to tackle, what are you going to tell that kid? Put your head up. I mean, you're diving for ants. You're looking for ants. I mean, but seriously, the serious thing is, guess what? You start forming bad ways to tackle, you could get seriously hurt or die. I mean, it could get when you get into that NFL arena, that's a battle. That's not touch football now. So it's like you got to perfect your trade. You got to $10 million or 100 or I mean $50,000 a year. Got to perfect it.
Dude, I really like what you said about not just letting it come to you. Because one, you really can't assume nothing, especially in a sales commission based field. Like you eat what you kill, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't even really, yes, you hope family and friends and stuff use you, but they don't always. And they just, you gotta be willing to. And I like what you said about continually like getting better. Cause like, if you wait, like my dad used to say, wait broke the bridge. And, like, I think about that all the time because it's like, well, did the wait break the bridge or did waiting to fix the bridge? He's like, whichever one it
That's
is.
deep.
I think that when I talked about, like, how do you, like, basically stay positive in such a negative market, like, something I've been super convicted of recently is that if you believe in God, you're born again, you have the Holy Spirit in you. If you do, that means you have the light. Jesus was the light of the world. That same light's in you now.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very dark place we live in, and business is very much spiritual as much as it is physical, in my opinion. So if I'm not tapping into the light that's inside of me, how can I see around me?
Yeah, no, that's good.
Last night, I really effed me up though, because like I was like kind of like a little nervous, just thinking about I have some stuff brewing, but it's like I kind of need this year not to be like last year. And then I was just like, I'm so worried on the numbers, and I didn't even like pray or go to the source. So like, I'm trying to get better about just and like everybody like cliche, but like just trying to put it more in God's hands than my hands. Cause like I'm a self-help junkie. And that means that like I always think I can do something. But sometimes there's only stuff that like God can do, and there's only stuff God can ordain, He can protect you from. So trying to apply that mindset, but it's so difficult because you know I'm a YN.
Yeah. But I like how you got on that soapbox and like looked at the community. You were like, look, I'm talking to y'all. No, seriously, that was awesome. Because another thing that I always like to put into my work ethic is God talks about giving 100% of your work, of your effort at work. And if you don't, I mean, God's saying to do it. Is that a sin? Are you not fulfilling what and if you are not giving 100% of effort, does that mean that he's not overflowing your cup? I mean, he says to give 100%. So if I give 50%, am I outside of God's umbrella of protection? I mean, I would rather not skirt on that line of being outside of God's protection. Because, like you said, this world is dark. We are the light. We are not hiding it under a bushel. You're going to let it shine. But the thing is, hey, look, God went into the darkness of the world for us, came back and said, look, my blood, saved you. Let's stay in his protection, but show that light. Man, that really struck me is what you just said about, being the light, being that effort, going to God and saying, look, God, you know my quarter, you know my year. It doesn't look good. If I don't make some money, we might be cooked. But the thing is, do you always go to that well?
And that's the conviction though, because I don't. Like,
I don't know.
it's like shoot first, ask questions later sometimes.
Yeah.
When it's like you should pray first and then pray again later.
Eh,
But I'm only praying once, you know what I'm saying?
I'm praying, and that's what you get, God. Hey, look, God, you died on the cross, but one prayer. That's
But
it.
it's the same concept of the safety thing though, like you were talking about. Like you gotta practice and work at it. Like
Yeah.
I feel like the saints don't just become saints. Like people aren't inherently good people. Like there's stuff that like there's a process, like your relationship with your wife,
Mhm.
if you don't talk to her,
Yeah.
it's probably gonna start stinking.
It is.
And we know who wears the pants in the relationship.
Look, we don't even need to bring that up. This is my podcast. You know what I'm saying? No, this is our podcast. But guess what?
Sarah's podcast.
But guess what?
It's Sarah's podcast.
She did allow. She did allow me. She said it was okay. She's like, wait, how much money is it going
She's
to cost
BlackRock.
you?
She's our BlackRock. She's our hedge fund.
She doled out that money on the side. Sorry, babe. But no, I mean, you're right. If you don't speak in a relationship, it gets stale. It gets stagnant. And just like the market, it gets stale. It gets stagnant. Of course it does. So what are you going to do to change the market? Are you going to be the light? Or are you going to be just in the background dim? I'd rather be pushing through with the light. I mean, just like you said, equate it to what you want. God, no God. I mean, you and I believe in God. We know that there's a God. We know that there's a right way to do things. But the thing is, look, would you rather be front of the pack or would you rather be back of the pack? Would you rather be trailing off and let the world eat you? Or would you rather be pushing and striving to change the market? I mean, that's where I stand. And when you were talking about the Saints, you were talking about the Heavenly Saints. I thought you were talking about the New Orleans Saints. I was like, let's not bring them into the.
They need way more help.
They need. Hey, you still doing safety? Can you go help them? Because guess what? They need that kind of help.
I love my body. I love my neck and my mind. No CTE here. No major surgeries.
Well, I mean, look, you probably have a better pedigree than most. No, I'm just
Scott, have you seen that Cat Williams thing when they're like, you've been to prison? He's like, 19 felonies, no convictions. That's how I felt just now when I was like, yeah, bro, I beat the case. I beat all the cases.
I thought you were going to be like, that's not my baby. The Cat Williams?
Oh, yeah. That's
Was it
rice-skinned. That rice-skinned.
That's rice-skinned.
Caucasus Mountains.
The mountains of Caucasus.
That's crazy work, man.
So, but getting back to the market.
So, like, how much news would you say you consume in regards to, like, nationally and locally as far as just, like, are you tapped in? Are you reading reports that they put out? Like, how are you gleaning information?
I do need to be better tapped in. I, as you know, I like to talk to people and I have a lot of friends. So
a lot of powerful and wealthy friends.
Wealthy. Oh, okay. But the thing is, I do know some things but that's not, I need to do better by opening that book. Like if you ask me, Scott, how do you invest? There's going to be crickets. Because I don't know. You probably know much better than me on how to invest. And the funny thing is, remember when we used to have that weekly lunch session talking about how to be better than me at my age of 40 is investing. I still don't invest. I was preaching it to y'all, but the thing is, I'm not doing it myself, and that I don't think that's the right thing to do. But getting back to market. And what's happening? I think, yes, Trump did get into office. I'm happy about that. I mean, I'm going to try not to be political in here. But Joe Byron. But I think KPLC put out a post. KPLC put out a post, and I think it was more like hate clickbait. And I think that they got it. They got what they wanted. It was because it just, I mean, how are you going to throw out that it's going to be a crash market in Lake Charles? Liquid natural gas is coming back. Oil is coming back. Those are things that Lake Charles thrives on, especially liquid natural gas. Now, this is me looking through a dirty crystal ball. I think that 2025 could be a good year if it keeps going the right way. Now, could I be wrong? Could KPLC be right? Yeah, they could. But as an agent, I'm not going to say, man, I'm not going to go to my clients and say, don't put your house on the market because it's going to be a bad year, because that's what KPLC said. I'm still going to strive to push the market because I think it will be I think it should be a good year. I think you're going to see executives come in. I think you're going to see a lot. I mean, I was watching a TikTok of a captain or whoever, somebody on this oil tanker that says this oil tanker holds 1.3 million gallons of oil and it hasn't been used for like 7 years. And well, Scott, Byron was only 4 years, but still, they are traveling from where they were to the Gulf of Mexico. Now, could it have been clickbait? It's not like I did any research behind it, but just seeing some of those things, that shows something is happening. Something is pushing forward. And I think that's what the economy needs. Yes, eggs are still at a high price. I mean, that's the thing that everybody likes to talk about, eggs being at a high price. Eggs are still at a high price, but guess what? So is gas, so is bacon, so is everything. We've had this inflation, and now it's time to get back to the market being, instead of a buyer's market like it is now, I think we are going to see a swing. Does that mean that's going to happen next month? No. I think it's going to take, maybe the end of 2025 until you see a swing. But I think it's still a good market. I think it's still something that you're gonna sell houses in. Are you gonna sell an abundance of houses? Maybe not. But is it still a good time to put your name out there? I mean, for you, your mentor, the person that you're working under, probably Robbie Engel, probably one of the best agents in Southwest Louisiana, in the Lake Charles area. I mean, do you think she stops? Do you think that she's like, no, no, it's okay. I'm going to put it on pause. I'm going to put the market on pause and I'm just going to vibe. No.
No.
So I'm not trying to be Robbie Engel, but the thing is, could I be better? No, but I that's that energy that you have to strive off of. That's that energy that makes you better than, and that's the energy that I think that can be, I mean, put the pulse on the market and move forward. I mean, one of the greatest agents that I know is Erin Allen. I mean, she is a great agent. She like stepped back from real estate right now, but guess what? That woman is still getting deals. I mean, I'm co-oping with a couple of her things. And I mean, how are you outside of the market, but people still come to you? Well, it's not because she sat around. It's not because she didn't do anything. They know who she is. They know her name, and her clientele are going to come back to her. And that's the thing that I don't think that young agents understand, or new agents, not young agents, new agents understand. It's not you might be like a star overnight, but guess what? That's like a 0.0000001% chance of that happening. You have to work for it. And if you are, man, I'm a star overnight. Do you have the mentality? Do you like that? I think that you have. Do you have the mentality to claw your way up to the top? No, you don't. You're gonna be like, I'm a star overnight. I don't need to get my nails dirty. I don't need to do anything. Yeah, the market's gonna look crappy to you. What are you gonna do? Post about a crappy market? No, you're gonna push forward. Say this is my house to sell. I mean, your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this market?
Uh, Man, I agree with pretty much everything you said. I think a majority of it is, so I worked at a restaurant in Jackson, Mississippi called Silent Mookie's. It was an upper echelon pizza and ice cream joint. And
Upper echelons, like you had to have a tie.
I didn't have a tie, but like I used to joke that the money was blue. And it's like, swear. Like, just moms, kids with, like, iPhone 15s that aren't even out yet back, like, 3 years ago, like, it was just crazy work, man.
Alright, I'm sorry.
But, something that was pressed upon me when I was serving tables before I got into a management role within 6 months was that you are the CEO of the table. And if you're the CEO of the table, you control, like, your personality is the table. And, like, the way you can control the thermostat. Like the kitchen could be effing up. They could be burning pizzas left and right, burning ice cream. Don't ask me how, but they've done it before. But as long as you're connected, locked in with those people, open and honest with them, maybe throwing a free dessert for their kid or something like that, like it goes a long way. It like just be upfront, very upfront with people as far as like, hey man, like I know 2-3 years ago we were playing with Monopoly money and we'd probably get multiple offers and then 20K over, no contingencies, like move in tomorrow, cash, don't even have the cash.
How are we gonna get it?
Right,
It's there.
right.
It's there.
It's on paper. That was a joke in a game. Like, that was almost unrealistic, and we got so accustomed to the good life that the second thing is normalized again. It's almost like not saving money when you're making money.
Yeah.
You spend it, spend it, spend it. Well, when things dry up, like, that belt gets a little tighter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
ramen a lot
that's what
more
I'm
often.
saying.
Yeah.
So, I just think it's about not letting it, because it's sad, don't get me wrong, especially if you're used to putting out 4 or 5 contracts a month, and now if you're averaging 1, 2, and on a good month, it may explode. But like, you just got to put it in your head, like, what's the main goal? Real estate's not a get rich quick vibe, in my opinion. It's a long game, you know?
It is.
Because like the goal of this podcast, it's like a real estate podcast, whatever, but like, Scott Warner, real estate. Donovan Johnson, real estate. That's what I want it to be. Like, there's some OGs, like, you know, like the Greg Wises, Robbies, all these people that, like, you see their name and you're like, real estate, been in the game forever. You know what I'm saying?
When are you going to get off?
So it's like, yeah, get off the horse. Let me ride that thing. Pause. But, like, what I'm getting at, yeah, they're going to be like, how's this go from Bible verses to talking about riding horses?
We do it every
most polarizing character.
But no, the thing, coming back to what you said, and you said a point, we as Christians, we as real estate agents, we as the CEO of that table, we are the thermostat, not the thermometer. That's huge. And I think most people want to be, yeah, I'm a thermostat, but are you controlling the temperature of that room? And I think as agents, we have to be the thermostat. We're the ones that our clients are going to say, oh crap, why hasn't our house sold? It's been 30 days. Well, I'm sorry. Average on days right now is 60. I mean,
I checked the other day. It's like 87.
Oh.
Has a hole. But there's pockets like in Moss Bluff that's literally less than 30 days right now. So like.
Didn't you have one on Crawford?
Mm-hmm.
This dude can sell anything. But the thing is, you have to be that thermometer. I mean, you have to be that thermostat, not the thermometer. Man, that just this podcast and just us talking back and forth has opened my mind to so many things that I should be like, what should I do? How should I do it? I mean, and that's what we wanted for this podcast, is for people to just think. People to just be like, how can I perfect my trade? So getting back to this crappy market, what does your 2025 look like as a real estate agent?
Currently, man, I want to do 40 transactions is my goal.
Okay.
Last year was around like 22, 23, I think.
Okay.
I'd like to list more than I buy, but I'm obviously not going to turn down a buyer. They told me early on, and you even said like early on in your real estate grind, like you may be dealing with more buyers than actual listings, but like I believe the market's going to flip this year, and I'd rather have all my chess pieces on the board versus dealing with people trying to go buy. Like I want people to come to me and I want to hold the cards. I want to be able to be like, no, or yeah. So
you want to be that thermometer.
Yeah.
I mean, that thermostat.
And last thing I'm going to say about that is there's nothing better as an entrepreneur, as a real estate agent, anything when you turn a bad situation good. You know, like if you can,
Yeah.
I feel like that's something you're really good at, because when you start dealing with these higher clientele people, they're quirky. They're just, you got to really accommodate to them. And if you can, I think it's magical if you can do that. Cause like I've had people literally have the worst experience of their life at the restaurant and dap me up after and be like, I'm so glad you served me. Like I used to have a cursing problem, believe it or not. Currently. But so there was this group of, it's like a 20 top, no, it was like an 8 top. but it was like 6 high school girls and one of their parents.
Mhm.
They kept asking me for these stupid little toys that we give like 5-year-olds. And I kept forgetting it was a busy night at the restaurant. And I may or may not have dropped an F-bomb at the table, right? The mom stiffed me at the end of the night. She's like, "You're horrible. You're unprofessional." It was my first night on the floor, by the way. And they brought it up for like 3 years afterwards. Dude. But guess what? The dad dapped me up and gave me a 20 and said, "Sorry, my wife, for being a bitch." And I was like, "Fuck, thank you, big dog." And that was my intro. That was my intro of like,
Intro to life.
like you ain't gotta accept anything. Like just because the market's slow don't mean you gotta move slow.
Mhm.
I'm not saying move with that crackhead energy, but I'm saying if you got a spunk about you, then it's like, dude, it's a crappy market, but watch us sell this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and look, I think one thing for you, and one thing that I always have in my mind for Donovan Johnson. Donovan Johnson knows how to get that deal done. Donovan Johnson walked in, said, "I'm sorry, lady agent, this is not worth what y'all have it on the market for. It's worth this," and got the deal done. Wasn't it like 200,000 lower? One 150,000, big difference. But I mean, that's that energy that you do. That's that energy that you have that I think translates into something else. Yes, I might be able to get those higher price homes, but guess what? You are slinging those homes no matter what price they are. And guess what? Look, that's growing. That's growth. I remember when you first started, and I feel like I took you under my wing.
You did. I mean, it feel like.
So, I mean, to see where you were to where you are now is already leaps and bounds. And what have I always said to you? You can be the best real estate agent. You're like, "Well, Scott, I might be in music. I might be in political arena." I said, "Be the best that you can be." And that's what I think you have to do with this market, is make it the best that you can. Because if you just sit around and are not the thermostat and you are the thermometer, guess what? It's going to be a cold night. It's going to be a cold night. It's going to hurt. I would rather be that. I would rather be pushing and prodding and getting my hands dirty to be that thermometer so I can control that cold night to, be comfortable. I'd rather be sleeping comfortable than, snuggling up with a electronic heater, trying to stay warm. I mean, once again, that's just my mindset on this market of, yeah, I think it's going to be better in 2025, but as real estate agents, do we know?
I don't, but I'm a swing.
Well,
I think we have a minute or two left.
Yeah.
Can I give the kids a little inspiration? Because you
Go
just said something that made me. Somebody told me this at the gym the other day, and it made me stop being a little bitch in my
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
So like, I was getting upset because I was getting like tapped out and choked out, and I was like, dude, I just got my blue belt, so I'm just not a good look for the boys. One of the OGs walked up to me and was like, "Dog, like you've really come a long way." I was like, "Not today though. Today felt like I'm going in backwards." And he's like, "Day one of you last year, could you beat yourself up? Like, could you right now beat yourself up a year ago today?" I was like, one hand behind my back, literally. He's like, "Well, dude, you should get back to work. Like, who cares? Like, you're better." And you said like leaps and bounds, like
Mhm.
that's the same energy though. Once they said that, I was like, dang, like I can't. Like, you can do it. Like, you ain't gotta. Forgot where I was going, but
You could do it in this market.
and like
As
your progress is like it's happening. Like just because it may feel stagnant, whatever. Like
Mhm.
you're good and like you're growing and getting better. So as long as you're getting better, like who cares? Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, because like real estate's a cycle. Humans are cycles. We're all about habits. So it's gonna come up, it's gonna come down, but it's all about you finding like consistent. Just keep pushing. Don't be so upset. Like I like to cuss a little bit, but I'm like, so you got to get it out. I'm not saying act all stoic and poetic, but like know that you ain't got to be a perfectionist. You ain't got to have it all together. Like Scott's been on me about this podcast. We're 2 episodes deep now. Like we're just swinging, bro, with a plan, but we're swinging. So keep swinging. Don't give up. You can beat yourself up a year ago today. If you can't, stop sucking.